Hey everyone, it's Sculpted Shot, and today I'm doing a Battlefield 3 guide again, and this is the tank, aka the main battle tank, but let's call it the tank. And this is very fun to use, and I know a lot about this thing, so I'm looking forward to telling you guys some things about it, so let's get started. So, this is the main battle tank, and there's two versions to it. There's the Russian version, which is the T-90A, and there's the M1 Abrams for the Americans. The tank is very powerful, and it does have some really good things to it, but it also doesn't. It also has some weaknesses. So there's some good and bad for the tank, and I'll explain to you guys what those are and some other things about the tank. But first, I'm going to talk about some of the features on it. So there's the unlocks that you get for it, and I'll explain some of them. So you get IR. Well, the first one you get is IR smoke, and these are just all gradually. Like the first one you lock is the one I'm talking about. And the last one will be the last one I named. So these are just in order. You got IR smoke, which a bunch of metal or bunch of smoke and metal things come out. And they're supposed to not let you get locked on, but you still do anyways. It's not that great at evading you or evading missiles. You got coaxial LMG, which is an LMG that you can unlock, and instead of having just your main huge gun to use, you can use this against personnel. So it's basically a machine gun that you can use on people. You have auto loader, which it just makes the firing time faster on your main gun. It's pretty kind of useful. Zoom optics is one of my favorite things to use. It says here it's a secondary weapon sight with up to 3 times magnification, and that really helps you a lot at hitting tanks from far away and other things like maybe helicopters, because it's really hard to hit those things with just your regular sight. You have maintenance, which helps you recover faster from damage. Coaxial HMG, which is a heavy machine gun. It shoots a lot slower, and I don't like it. I'd rather use the LMG, honestly. You can switch between this one and the main gun. So I don't really like this one though. You got proximity scan, which it's a little like radar thing that goes around your tank, and it helps you see personnel, but I don't like this because it doesn't have a far reach. It's only like 5 feet, which on the map it's not very good. You have guided shell, which locks onto laser designated targets, which it's really important, even though you may not think of it. And I'll show you why there's only one way this will really work. You have thermal optics, which is just different view to use with thermal camo, which helps your tank avoid getting locked onto by anything, and it reduces the time that you've been spotted to the enemy. You have canister shell, which is this thing that I'm sure you've seen it in battles. It's like this huge. It's a secondary weapon for your tank, and when you switch to it, you shoot it out of your main gun as well. So you're using your main gun at all times with this one. And it's like a whole bunch of balls that get shot out of your tank. It's like a shotgun blast, and it's very good against personnel. So that's my recommendation to use for this tank, not the coaxial LMG. You have reactive armor, which are some panels that go around your tank, and they absorb damage. But once they get hit, they go bye bye, and then you're exposed a little bit. And then you have Civ station, which is a third. It's sort of like it's an abstract turret position. It's a third one. And all you can do is laser designate targets and use a proximity scanner. I haven't seen the proximity scanner on this thing, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it ever works. And all you do is just laser designate, and you can enter it even if there's 2 people in the tank. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. So, alright, so yeah, that's the attachments for the tank. Now I'm going to talk about the 3 seats in the tank, and one of them isn't really actually there. But first of all, you have the driver, which he has a main gun which deals a lot of damage. It's used against other tanks, other vehicles, and obviously it can be used against people, and also can blow up like little mines or destroy buildings and scenery or anything. Then you can have the LMG, HMG, or the canister shell to use along with you, or you can use a guided shell, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then there's the second seat, which is the gunner that's on top of it. He has a mounted LMG that has a 360-degree view. He can spot people with this thing, which is kind of important as well. You can call out targets, and his attachments they do work for the tank. Like if he has proximity scan, it'll work with it. But yeah, just an LMG that helps take out personnel a lot easier, but it doesn't really do any damage against vehicles. Then there's this third seat in the tank, which is called the Civ station, and this is the last unlock for the tank. It's 10,000 points. And this thing has no gun, which the only thing you do in this seat is that you can laser designate targets for your target and for your driver and your team. So anyone using anything that locks on the lasers will be able to shoot your target. The attachments this guy is using also apply to the tank, and the only reason that this seat is actually important is because if you're not in a party with friends, I really wouldn't. Well, actually, the cool thing about this thing is that you don't have to put this on. When you unlock it, it's unlocked. Like, you can still use 3 other attachments to your tank, and you'll always have the Civi station unlocked. So that's the cool thing about it. It doesn't take up a third, or it doesn't take out like a slot for your tank. But the only reason that this thing is actually useful is if you're in a party with friends and you guys kind of coordinate together, and you have your driver have the guided shell on, because this thing is very, 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 very useful. And because once you laser designate a target, your driver will lock on, and it's amazing how much damage this thing deals. This is one of the most powerful things in a tank, but it can be useless without no driver with guided shell. So other than that, all you'll be able to do is spot targets, and it says it has a proximity scan in it, but I don't think it does. I mean, I never see the proximity scan. Also, this gun or this seat locks onto air, water, and land vehicles. Well, it doesn't actually lock onto boats though, but it locks onto like LAVs that are in the water. Flares and IR smoke do not throw the missile off that you shoot, and that's really awesome. And if say you lock into a helicopter, I feel like a douchebag using this thing, but once the missile shot at a helicopter, like this guy will throw out flares, but it doesn't matter because he's gonna get shot down. And most of the time, this thing is a one-shot kill to all helicopters. The missile is actually smart because it goes to the top of the vehicle. That's how the missile works, and yeah, it's very deadly. And it's hard to lock on the jets with, because this thing, it does have like a range limit, and a lot of times the jets will get towards you, but once you lock onto them, they'll get out of the range. So I don't know. I still haven't taken a jet with this thing yet. So my recommendation for tank attachments would have to be canister shell with zoom optics and reactive armor, because I like the canister shell against any sort of like opposition personnel. The zoom optics is it's impeccable for you to use on the tank. I mean, you can be able to shoot a tank away from a mile away, as long as you know how to like line up your sights right and get the missile or get the shot to drop properly. And reactive armor is just very useful. It doesn't help you, or it helps you not get blown up right away. But the weaknesses of the tank, and this thing does have weaknesses, is that it does not perform well in tight spaces. Like maybe if you go inside like a building, and the only thing is that you don't have much mobility. Like it is sort of slow, and you can't really maneuver that well. And if you get surrounded, you can't get away from the people. You gotta try to get the hell out of there, but usually that doesn't work. Oftentimes, if you get surrounded, you'll end up getting blown up by a C4. So you want to try to control your engagement so that you always have people where you want them, or where they'll be appearing. Like if you have the targets A and B, obviously don't go to like the middle of C. Stay outside of it. So usually you want to keep people in like the front of you, like only on one side. You don't want them getting to like 180 or 360 degrees around you. Some things about other weapons. Rockets do, I think it's like 30 damage to them. C4 will usually destroy you actually, and if you run over a mine, it will usually destroy you. Helicopters are like the weaknesses for this thing. Helicopters are very effective against it. But if you have the Civi station on, you lock into a helicopter, have your guy destroy him in one shot. It's awesome. Or the driver can sometimes get lucky and kill him with a main gun. But other than that, the tanks are battles with other tanks are what'll usually happen. And whenever you get in a fight with another tank, it's whoever hits a soft spot on the tank, which is, I think it's the treads and like the back of the tank. So if you get one of those shots, or if you get the first shot, but oftentimes you'll get disabled no matter what. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. The tank is a very good option to use for your team. It's a very powerful thing to use in this game, but only if it's used right and you don't get surrounded. And one thing I want to say is that the tank is not something to jump in at the spawn, sprint to like the objective, and then jump out and leave it for the other team to use, or for to just get put to waste. and it is a tank. Use it to win and surround objectives. Help your team win. Also coordinate with your friends if you want to own in a tank, such as use all different attachments. Like have one guy use reactive armor, the gunner might have proximity scan, and the third seat will have maintenance. And then I'm kind of using the third seat a little bit too much because it's the last unlock and it takes a while to unlock. It took me like 12 hours in tanks to get everything. So alright, other than this, have fun destroying in the tank and helping your team win. And thanks for watching, guys. Like the video, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. You guys have a nice day.